June 2018, and I was able to get out and get to the thing tonight. So I've got my second rendition of Captain Underpants and the perilous plot of Professor Pooppy Pants. And this is the fourth epic novel. I'm not sure which one the other one I read was, but anyway, this is the fourth one. And this is kind of, for all my boys. Oh, this one has stickers in it. Don't be sticking these on the wall. Got it. Stickers. So like I did last time, I'll read a couple of chapters and then I'll be done. There are only 25 chapters. No, yeah, 25 chapters. So I'm not going to read all 25. We'll go with chapter 1. The top secret truth about Captain Underpants. This is just the foreword. It's not even chapter 1. In our last 3 adventures, we tried to save our crazy principal from disaster. He thought he was a real superhero, but he wasn't. We didn't think things could get any worse, but they did. Top secret truth about Captain Underpants. Once upon a time, there were 2 cool kids named George and Harold. We are awesome. Me too. They had a mean old principal named Mr. Crump. Blah, blah, blah. We all know how that is. Mr. Crump was very mean. To George and Harold. Blah, blah, blah. So they bought the 3D hypno ring. They used it to hypnotize Mr. Crump. You will obey us. Okie dokie. So there we go. Okie dokie. But they made a terrible mistake. You are now Captain Underpants. Ha ha. Okay. Hey, come back, Mr. Crump. Tra-la-la. Mr. Crump thought he really was Captain Underpants, but he didn't have any superpowers. Stop, you big dummy. They had a lot of adventures over time. They even got attacked by a UFO. They all got took into the spaceship and George stole some alien superpower juice. Then Mr. Crump got eaten by a big evil dandelion. And so George gave him some superpower juice. Then he got superpowers. Now Captain Underpants has amazing strength and he can fly too. The only way George and Harold can stop Captain Underpants from causing trouble is by pouring water on his head. This makes him turn back into Mr. Crump. Hey, bub. But beware, because whenever Mr. Crump hears somebody snap their fingers, snap, snap, he turns back into you-know-who. Oh no, here we go again. Tra-la-la-la. Okay, that was a forward. This is chapter 1. George and Harold. This is George Bead and Harold Hutchins. Beard. This is George Beard and Harold Hutchins. George is the kid on the left with the tie and the flat top. Harold is the one on the right with the t-shirt and the bad haircut. Remember that now. So there they are. Don't underestimate our good teachers. All of the experts at Jerome Hort's elementary school had their opinions about George and Harold. Their guidance counselor, Mr. Reacted, thought the boys suffered from ADD. The school psychologist, Mrs. LeBlur, diagnosed them with ADHD, and their mean old principal, Mr. Crump, thought they were just plain old bad. But if you ask me, George and Harold simply suffered from IBSS, incredibly boring school syndrome. You see, George and Harold weren't really bad kids. They were actually very bright, good-natured boys. Their only problem was that they were bored in school. So they took it upon themselves to liven things up for everybody. Wasn't that thoughtful of them, as all students like to do? No, it's not thoughtful of them. Unfortunately, George and Harold's thoughtfulness got them into trouble every now and then. Sometimes it got them into a lot of trouble, and one time it got them into so much trouble it almost caused the entire planet to be taken over by a ruthless, maniacal, mad scientist guy in a giant robot suit. Before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. Chapter 2. So this is chapter 2. The All Hail New Swaziland. As everybody knows, New Swaziland is a small country just outside of Greenland. You probably know all about New Swaziland's natural resources and systems of government. But here's something about New Swaziland that I'll bet you didn't know. Everybody in New Swaziland has a silly name. Just ask the president, the Honorable Chuckles Jingleberry McMonkeyburger Jr., or his lovely wife, Stinky. There they are. Aren't they lovely? Lovely couple. I especially like Miss Stinky. They'll tell you all about New Swaziland's proud silly name heritage. They'll tell you about the cultural significance of silly names, and then they'll probably tell you a really long, boring story about how the stupid tradition got started. We'll skip that part, okay? And just remember that everybody in New Swaziland has a silly name, from the richest to the poorest, from the dumbest to the smartest. And speaking of the smartest, let me introduce you to Professor Pooppy Pants. That's a statue. That's a statue of him down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the page. Now, Pooppy Pants was probably the smartest person in all of New Swaziland. He graduated at the head of his class at Chucky G. Boogernose University, and afterwards spent all of his time creating wild and fantastic inventions. Let's look in on him, shall we? That's him over here, Professor Pooppy Pants. Back in his private laboratory, Professor Pooppy Pants was just putting the finishing touches on two wonderful new inventions, the Shrinky Pig 2000 and the Goosey Grow 4000. Professor Pooppy Pants called for his assistant, Porkbelly Funky Skunk. Mr. Funky Skunk, Pooppy yelled, "I am now ready to test my new inventions." Porkbelly took notes while the professor aimed his Shrinky Pig 2000 at a hideous pile of trash. A powerful beam of energy blasted the garbage heap. Suddenly, the large pile of trash shrank to the size of a gumball. "Hooray, it works!" cried Professor Pooppy Pants. "Now I must try the Goosey Grow 4000. So, big pile, little goosey gum. Pippi and Porkbelly aimed the Goosey Grow 4000 at an ordinary hot dog with mustard. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr crashed through the walls of the laboratory. We did it, explained Pork Belly. What do you mean, we? Yelled Professor Pooppy Pants. I did it. I'm the genius. You're just a lowly assistant. Don't you forget it. Sorry, boss, said Pork Belly. There's a hot dog, little hot dog, big hot dog. With these two inventions, explained Professor Pooppy Pants, I will be able to solve the world's garbage problem and create enough food for everyone on the entire planet. Finally, it looked as if all of the Earth's dilemmas would be fixed forever, but who would have believed that in just a few short weeks, Professor Pooppy Pants would be trying to take over the planet in a fit of frenzied rage? Well, dear readers, the tragic tale is about to unfold, but before I can tell you the story, I have to tell you this story, which would be Chapter 3, the field trip, and I'm almost at just over 9 minutes of my video, so I'm going to stop with Chapter 3. Plenty of chapters for Caleb and Adam to read to Joel. I read the first 2, 3, 4 chapters with a forward. I don't know how much I read. Anyway, boys, you can read this book to your brother. Pick up where I left off. It's hot outside here in Kuwait. I love you guys. I'll be home in 4 weeks and what is this, 3 days and a wake up? Be home. When I say home, I mean back in the United States. I don't mean home, because I don't know exactly what day I'll be home. But I'm getting very, very close to being done. So, love you guys. Have a great day. Be good for your mother. Do what she says, and I'll talk to you later.